Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time. And as always, thank you to all feral venerators of Siuan, Lux, Charlie, Morshadi, and John. Thank you very much for the support.
On this episode of Queers of Time, we're going to be talking about chapters 7 through 9 of The Gathering Storm. We finally have a Nynaeve point of view and a Siuan point of view. I'm so used to their names together. A Siuan point of view. And then we have to suffer a little bit through a Perrin point of view. So
I feel like I suffered more through the Siuan POV because there was also Gareth being very present. And I was like, "Ugh."
So
Yeah.
to get things started, we have chapter 7, which is called The Plan for Arad Doman. It's a Nynaeve point of view. They're at Rand's little manor, Bashir's manor, but whatever. Or Lord Tellen's manor. They're in Arad Doman.
They're somewhere at a manor. They're an Arad Doman at a manor.
Yes.
We know that.
Nynaeve is working with Dagon, or Dagian. I pronounced it Dagon throughout the chapter, but now I realize that it's not A-I-N, it's I-A-N, so...
I would say Dagon too.
Dagon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nynaeve and Dagon are having a conversation, and Dagon is teaching Nynaeve the weaves for the Aes Sedai test. There's a cute little moment. Well, not a cute little moment. It's actually a very sad little moment, but a moment where Nynaeve offers to heal Dagon from her pain of losing her warder, but Dagon is like, no, I need to feel my pain. And then Nynaeve goes off on a little bit of a tangent about how the power levels how the hierarchy is decided by power levels is kind of insane.
Yep.
And then Rand is being a tyrant a little bit.
A little bit. A little bit.
I'm pretty sure he said almost exactly the same things that he said at some point in the prologue or in the previous chapter to the sea folks.
Yeah, probably.
When he was like, I don't look for excuses, only results.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on one.
Yeah.
I was noticing that, like, when I was taking all of my highlights from my book, most of them were from the short Nynaeve point of view, and not many of them were from the Rand. There was all Nynaeve's point of view, but from the Rand section, not many highlights were made.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
Other than to say, like, Rand is being very rude, which is, like, I know is an understatement, but, like, dude, come on. How are you supposed to inspire, I don't know, support if you're being an asshole to everyone?
Yeah, he doesn't really believe in compromise at all, or understanding, or empathy. He's on one.
Mm-hmm.
Is also kind of depressed. I don't remember exactly at which point of the chapter, but there's also a moment about his relationship with Min, and how... Was that a flashback, or was that something he said at that point about how, like, if he was to marry Min, he would only bring her death?
Right. I mean, he's been in a deep depression for quite some time now.
For several books.
Many books now. He's been in a deep depression. But like, I am very much of the belief that yes, mental illness can bring about certain behaviors. It can cause you to act in ways that you may not usually act, but I don't like that. I don't want it to be used as an excuse.
Yeah, you're still responsible for your actions.
Yes, absolutely. And it's something that I've seen a few people in the fandom do when it comes to Rand. Oh, am I allowed to say that?
Oh, I thought you were going to say a few people in the fandom, just full stop. Like, you've seen people in the fandom do this.
Yes, but when it comes to Rand. I mean, I guess when it comes to all characters, but like, because we're talking about Rand specifically, I've seen them do this, when it comes to Rand, where well, yeah, he's depressed. He is suffering. He is very much suffering from, mental illness. But like, also, he is a man who is responsible for his words and his actions and his behaviors, and he should be held accountable for them. And it's good that I think he does end up apologizing for being an asshole, which is good because he recognized that, like, oh yeah, I am on one. I need to simmer down and scale it back a little bit because, again, how are you going to like, you can't inspire loyalty that way. It doesn't, at least not to the extent that he needs to be.
Right. He's ruling through fear and intimidation and not really ruling like for the right reasons or through the right ways.
I wouldn't even call it like that. I feel like a lot of the discussions that had happened, it just that he has no patience at all. So he wants everything to be done right now. And the lack of compromise is definitely an issue, but it also like he starts really quickly. It's very much the this escalated quickly meme sometimes, in a sense that the discussion would be very normal and suddenly would be very mad about something. And I did like that it's Siuan that stops him for Yael, which was interesting. Perhaps we want to stop and think, how often have you known Yael to fail you? And I so like that we got to see that to Nynaeve's POV, who she doesn't like Siuan, and Siuan doesn't like Nynaeve either. So they just don't acknowledge each other. And even then, Nynaeve is like, yeah, I don't like her, but I should have, like, my only complaint is that I should have been the one to say that, and I should have said that earlier. Why was I waiting?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, it's really fascinating, and I like that we get this point of view from Nynaeve, because we've seen people who treat Rand like the Dragon Reborn, the title. We've seen someone like Nynaeve who still very much approaches and thinks of Rand as the sheep herder from the Two Rivers, which, while very sweet, is not necessarily what he needs all the time. He needs it sometimes, but he doesn't need it all the time. And then I think, and I know some people are not going to like this because some people do not like Cadsuane, but Cadsuane, I think she manages to find that sort of middle ground of recognizing sort of both sides of him, and is able to be very kind of matter of fact in the way that she speaks to him. And like, she's not going to coddle him. She's not going to, well, sometimes she talks down to him, but like, I think in this moment, I think it really shows, like, she has a very specific and important purpose being by his side. And I think,
Yeah, Katsune sees that, yes, Rand is a leader. Rand is also still very young and sometimes way over his head in what needs, like, a bit overwhelmed by the task, I would say. Even if he doesn't admit that, it's definitely what's going on when he's thinking about everything that needs to be done, and he starts panicking about everything that needs to be done, and then gets angry about, like, to people when things are not moving fast enough. It's definitely because he's overwhelmed by the immensity of what needs to be done.
Right.
And she sees that. And yeah, I like that. In that specific instance, it's very much, let's take a step back. They're not going to fail you, and that's fine. So yeah.
No, I liked one of the lines that we got from Nynaeve, which was about Rand specifically, was Rand did have a clever mind for a man. Again, rolling my eyes at that last part there.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
There was a lot of good in him, perhaps the very soul of a leader if he could keep his temper in check. And I was like, that's a nice little thing from Nynaeve to say. I really enjoyed seeing this from Nynaeve's point of view, personally.
Yeah. It's, I think this chapter really, it illustrates both the things that I think people really, really love about Nynaeve as a character, and also the things that frustrate people about Nynaeve as a character, where, like, she has that very hypocritical nature where she talks about when she encouraged the kin to stand up to the Aes Sedai, and then they stand up to her, and she's like, wait, no, not like that. Don't, not me though. Like, she gets upset almost at that. And, but then at the same time, she, the way that she approaches Daigen, the way she approaches Daigen is it's very nurturing, I think. Like, she wants to, at her core, she wants to help people. She wants to especially help people who are hurting. And she can see, obviously, that Daigen is hurting. Now she's a little bit, she misjudges things. But she recognizes, oh, if this were me, I wouldn't want the pain taken away. I would want to feel it and go through it.
Right, which I think is a good moment of character growth from Nynaeve, because there's actually a few moments of that in this chapter that I really enjoyed.
I really like that, her first reaction to the pain and wanting to fix the pain. It's very innocent and naive in a way. And it takes a minute to understand that not all pain needs to disappear. Sometimes you need to grow with the pain in a way and learn to deal with it. And losing a word and grief in general is like that. You don't want to remove the grief. You want to evolve with it in a way.
Yeah. It very much reminds me of that, of a Tolkien quote that's, I will not say, do not weep, for not all tears are an evil, which is like that's exactly what it is. It's, there's this idea that like feeling pain, feeling your grief is like this negative thing that you just have to get over. And it's not. Like, it's something you need to be able to work through and process those feelings. It's healthy.
It's part of life.
Yeah, it's part of life. It's actually bad if you don't. That's where the problems come in. If you don't properly process those feelings. Yeah. I also really liked the where Nynaeve says that Daigen never addresses her by her name. And then by the end of that interaction, she realizes, oh, she called me Nynaeve. I was like, this is so, and it's like, and I think I feel like it was the combination of, even though it was misguided, Nynaeve's offer to help her, I think, shows genuine care and concern, but also Nynaeve saying like, yeah, this whole power structure is fucked up. We shouldn't do things this way. Like the way that the Aes Sedai do this, like by power levels, it's not good. And even though Daigen was like, I don't want to talk about this, I think it really did touch her. Like, I think she was touched by it.
Yeah, that was one of the big highlights that I had for this section, was just her, I don't know, she got a little blue Aja there. Like, she had a cause and she was like going for it, and she was like, no, there's something completely wrong with it. Like, she says, there you sit, knowing as much as any other Aes Sedai, knowing more than many, I'd wager, and the moment any accepted just off Apron Springs gains the shawl, you have to do what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And then Daigen's like, let's talk about anything else.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't call that being blue Aja, Sue, because it's still about fixing something that doesn't work well and healing a situation that is hurting in a way. So it feels also very much like Yellow Aja, because it's true that this power structure also like affect how people interact with each other and how they get hurt by each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
No, I thought it was a really, really good chapter.
Yeah.
I really like Nynaeve's. It's nice to be in Nynaeve's head again, even if she does have some moment. Like, I have to dig a bit more into that one, because I think that's going to be my burn of the week. But when she's all about how Rand never warns anyone about his plan, and then when she arrives, it's like, oh, I was about to send for you. And she's like, yeah, duh. Like, you think I didn't notice all of the Ailes?
Yep. Well,
I do love Nynaeve.
That's Nynaeve.
Nynaeve is someone that never wants to be wrong. And on Twitter, she would be the worst person to talk to, because sometimes she would be wrong and she would never acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
100%.
She'd rather dig her own graves than acknowledging that she was wrong.
Well, and yeah, like, just even starting out, like, she was talking about how she's doing Daigen a favor by distracting her from grief and everything. And she literally says, it certainly wasn't for Nynaeve's benefit that they met. And I'm like, no, this is for you. This is for, it's mutual, but it's mostly for you.
It's for you. And also, like, she was being such a cocky asshole when she was just like, like Daigen would show her a weave and she'd be like, what, like it's hard? And just do the weave and do it a couple of times. And like, yeah, we get it. You're the strongest channeler in like however many years. You have this like crazy memory and ability to memorize weaves. We get it. We know. You don't have to be an asshole about it, but she can't help it because that's her.
Yeah, the exact verbiage is Nynaeve copied it with barely a thought, committing it to memory at the same time. And it's like, okay, but some things are difficult for other people.
Yes.
Yeah, and also there's a bit about how pointless those weaves are. And I can't remember exactly in the test, but do we figure out in the test that there's a purpose for those weaves, or is it still very much just...
It's very purposeless. It's just meant to show that they can do complicated weaves while being distracted and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's dumb.
Yeah, like many White Tower shenanigans.
Isn't the only Aes Sedai test we see Moraine in New Spring?
I think we see Nynaeve.
Do we?
Do we see Nynaeve's... Yeah?
Yeah, because I feel like there's some stuff about Lan going on in that one. And her not being able to heal a bunch of people, and I'm pretty sure we get to see Nynaeve's test.
We'll see. We'll find out during this reread.
We'll see. Yes, we will find out at some point.
There's also a very casual line in here that I really wanted to bring up that I love before we move forward, which is Nynaeve still felt guilty for leaving them, but somebody needed to help Rand cleanse Saidin. That wasn't the sort of thing you left him to do alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, just this miracle of miracles. And you're like, well, somebody had to help.
Somebody had to do it.
I guess it has to be me.
What was I supposed to do?
It has to be me.
Yeah.
It has to be me, the second strongest channeler in forever.
Well, that's the thing, too, about Nynaeve. Like, she simultaneously, like, is very, like, dismisses her feats, like, the incredible things that she's able to accomplish, while at the same time, like, is, like, cocky about them, too. Like, it's this weird line that she kind of rides, I think.
It's a humble brag. It's a it's a dismissive humble brag.
Yes, exactly.
I thought you were going to say a brat, and that was something different.
A brat? Well.
A bit too. Is Nynaeve a brat?
Is Nynaeve a brat? That's the question.
Yes, definitely.
I think so.
But since we are talking about cleaning Saidin, cleansing, Saidin, whatever, I have one note where I had to complain, of course, about why was the female Terran destroyed but not the male one? That sounds like bullshit once again.
You can't have those females getting too strong, though, right?
Yeah, the females do one good thing. That's it.
That's it, and that's all.
Yeah. I don't even remember what the reason was, because they both drew a lot of powers from those scoundrels, and I feel like it must have been something stupid that, like, the buffer for the female Terran was a lot smaller than the buffer for the male Terran, and that's why one was destroyed and not the other. And I don't know, it pisses me off.
I'm sure it's something stupid like that.
I'm sure it is, yeah.
The woman Terran couldn't control herself, and so had to be burned and destroyed.
Got too turbulent, too emotional.
The female Terran got too emotional. Perfect.
There you go.
Do we have anything else on chapter 7? I don't.
No.
I mean, she thinks a little bit about Lan too, because yes, for this moment when Rand is thinking about, with a flashback about Rand that's never gonna marry Min because my death will bring her even more pain. And it's funny how she's always making comparison between the situation of someone else and her situation with Lan. Like, she does that also with Daigen, who lost her water, and Nynaeve is hoping that that's not gonna happen to her for a while. There's like the answer from Rand about marrying Min is kind of similar to Lan. What he was saying regarding marrying Nynaeve very early in those books. And I don't know, she's missing a man.
Yeah, she is. I know.
There was another moment of growth or something when she sees Rand, when she walks into the tent and she sees Rand for the first time, and he looks like a warder, assessing her and everything, and she thinks, I should never have let that woman take him from the two rivers. Look what it's done to him. And then she immediately is like, no, I'm being a dumbass. She's like, if Maureen hadn't come for Rand, he'd now be dead. With him would have gone the light and the hope of the world. It was too much. It was just hard to abandon her old prejudices. And I was like, look at that. You know what they call that? Growth.
That's gross.
That's
Growth.
Nynaeve having a nice thought about Moraine.
Oh my god.
I know. It's great.
Yeah, it's very good. That was a very sweet moment.
Yeah, I liked it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had for chapter 7. Let's move on.
And now we get into the sad chapter. Sad for us as people that enjoy Soirain. Yeah. So in this chapter, let me pull up my little summary thing. We have Siuan is with Lelaine and talking about the White Tower Aes Sedai, how things aren't going well. Lelaine offers to buy Siuan's debt, or pay off Siuan's debt to Gareth Bryn, and Siuan doesn't want that because Siuan's so in love with him. Gag. Later, Brian, I never know how to pronounce it. Gareth Bryn?
Bryn? I think it's Bryn.
I think it's Bryn. Okay.
Yeah.
Gareth Bryn gets information from Siuan about why she broke her oath. Siuan tells him about like the Dragon Reborn and everything. He's finally kind of satisfied with her answer. And then later, Egwene meets with Siuan in Teleran Riyadh. They share some information, and yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. It was a nice chapter overall.
It was.
It just, I will never not be bitter about how Swans evolve, because even in this chapter, it shows that Swan is smart and people should not underestimate her. And it hurts me when I know how this ends.
Yep.
Yeah. I really like the whole moment with Lelaine, because it's a like the fight between Lelaine and Romanda is a recurring thing, and it's kind of hilarious because there's, it's power struggle within the Aes Sedai camp, and I mean, I think it was Liane and Swan when they were both in the camp, they've played a lot with their fake antagonism to also play Lelaine and Romanda, and it's still kind of continuing here, even if Liana is not there anymore.
Yeah.
And gosh, I love how smart Swan is, because Swan realizes that now that Egwene is gone, Lelaine is starting to try to take over, which could be annoying. So she's immediately trying to redirect the attention to, oh yeah, but don't you remember you have a fight with Romanda?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Don't forget about Romanda.
And yeah, there's a few moments where Swan thinks about how everyone is underestimating her because of how much power she now has, which is not that dissimilar from what Nynaeve is thinking in the previous chapter. I like the callback. And yeah, this chapter is basically Swan constantly saying, you should not underestimate me, I'm still freaking smart. Sanderson, you wrote that!
Yeah.
Yeah, Sanderson is, I don't know. I have no comments that are nice.
It's deeply frustrating. It's deeply frustrating to read a chapter like this, which is like, and I don't mean like Swan is great. I liked Swan a lot in this chapter. It's frustrating knowing how things play out later on. And like, she's such a good character. She is like, the way that she interacts with other, like the other main characters as well, I think is really important, specifically Egwene. And, like her, I think other Aes Sedai, other people would have been very, they would have been almost, I don't know, I can't think of the word now, but they would have resented Egwene for the position that she has now. And Swan only feels pride. Like all she's all she feels is pride at how Egwene is handling this. And her ability to recognize, like, no, Egwene is the Amyrlin. She's not just like some prop. She is fully stepped into her role as the Amyrlin.
She needs to still be the Amyrlin by the last battle. There's really that comes up. And also like about how Egwene has already changed the Aes Sedai. There's a whole moment about the amount of novices they have in the camp, because now Egwene has opened the Book of Novices to everyone, no matter your age, which is still shocking to a lot of Aes Sedai. But, I mean, we're coming close to the last battle, and Siuan very much understands that it was needed, and some of those older novices are very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like there's this moment where in the POV it's Siuan could still sense shock in some of the Aes Sedai she passed. Egwene was to have been carefully controlled. What had gone wrong? When had the Amyrlin gotten away from them? And when and what? It's Siuan. It's from the start. Siuan taught her so much. And Egwene is excellent. But even when you have the capabilities, even when you're smart, if you don't have sometimes a mentor to help you move further and faster, you're not able to accomplish as much as you could. And without Siuan, Egwene wouldn't have gone that far, I think.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, which is also like why when people are dismissing Siuan, for example, in the fandom, or this kind of thing, I don't understand, because Siuan is so fundamental to Egwene's growth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Egwene has all of the sort of raw capabilities, but she needed finesse. She needed guidance. She needed finesse and guidance on how to sort of hone that into something that is like she could use and actually present to the rebels and everything like that. And Siuan is that finesse that she was lacking, I think.
And she needed knowledge also. And knowledge that only Siuan could have provided, because there's a lot about, like, Siuan comes in a way from a similar background than Egwene, in the sense that Siuan comes from a pretty small background. She probably was not, like, she probably easily was dismissed when she came to the tower, or like when she's like, nobody expected her to become the Amyrlin because she was so young. So she kind of always had to deal with, at least at first, with people underestimating her a little bit, or at least thinking that maybe she would be easier to manipulate as an Amyrlin because she was young.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, maybe she just climbed the ladder so fast. And she learned so much from that, and she's willing to give all of that knowledge to Egwene, and there's knowledge about history too, because like when we see what Egwene is currently using in the tower, with I already forgot the Mistress of Novices, what's her name? It's an S name, whatever. But like history of older Amyrlin, and how did they grow, and things that are said maybe in information that is maybe not only available to the Amyrlin, or people of a high enough rank. All of that, those are things that are fundamental, like that are needed by Egwene, and that Siuan provided.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. I love mentorship relationship.
Yeah, they're great. It's so good.
It's a type of relationship that I love reading about.
I agree with you.
Most of my notes are just on the Siuan and Gareth Bryn stuff, so I'm letting y'all go with this because I think it's also bad, but
yeah, but you had stuff to say about it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Let me see if I had anything else. Oh, the part about Siuan thinking about Moraine made me very sad.
Oh yes,
that is actually one of my sad boy moments. Or not one of, that is my sad boy moment.
Was it already in the Brian part, or?
It's when she's on her way to see him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, it does say that there's no love save for youthful dalliances, Do we think that Sanderson's saying that Moraine and Siuan were in love?
Wait, where is that? I missed that. Oh yeah, they had become her life, no love save for useful dalliances.
Well, I think it's him saying the opposite, because he's saying there was no love save for youthful dalliances. So it's like,
Right. Well, she didn't love anybody as an adult.
oh, I see. I understand.
But I think she loved Moraine when they were novices and accepted together.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
That's how I'm choosing to read it.
I will take that.
I will take those crowns.
Yep.
But yeah, the exact quote, do you want to read it or for...
You can read it. Go for it.
She and Moraine had fought so hard to save this world, but they had left themselves without anything to enjoy in it.
Oh,
Mm,
so sad.
yeah.
Ugh. It makes me mad.
She done some good. Time will tell if those efforts had been enough.
God.
Yeah, I was just struggling this chapter with all of the freaking like Gareth Bryn stuff. It was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it annoys me because it's hard exactly to say what's so wrong with that relationship when everything is kind of wrong, but it's also not like...
There's nothing awful about it. It's just wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of things that when you put them all together, it's not the roots of a healthy relationship. It's something is not okay. Like,
Yeah.
she looks so much younger than him, and he followed her across the world because he had a question, like because he was not thinking she would break her oath. And I mean, that's a weird thing to be stuck on for a while. And I'm sorry, but the laundry part,
Yeah. Well,
The laundry part is just some weird kink that they have.
it's gotta be, right?
and it annoys me that Swan is almost willing. It's like, no, she has a pride, and oh no, it's her task and duty, and she's not gonna let someone else do that. And I'm like, girl, you have so many other things that you could be doing that
Right.
are important.
But she has to prove to Gareth Bryn that he didn't win.
Yeah. Which I get. That part of it, if that was all that it was, I would get that. Like, it's just her trying to prove a point.
But there would be so many different ways to win with someone like that, because, I mean, what frustrates me is that Gareth Bryn is also someone that is very smart, is a great tactician. Swan is someone that is smart and is a great tactician too. And at no point we see them like using that common thing between the two of them to bond.
Mm-hmm.
Because
they're constantly trying to outmaneuver each other
Yeah, exactly.
instead of actually like...
but that's dumb.
Yes.
But they're on maneuvering on completely different thing. Like they have a siege to deal with. They have an army to handle. It's like those two person could be doing so much together if they were joining their brains, and instead they're talking about laundry.
Yes.
Well, yeah. But that's the frustration. Like that is the root of my frustration. It's that like you have a character like Swan, who is fantastic and has so much potential for her. Like, I mean, already like has done incredible things and should have done a lot more. And then you have also a character like Gareth Bryn, who on his own, perfectly fine character. I don't have a problem with him as a character on his own. But they're being put in this weird sort of dynamic, and like they're not being used to either of their full potentials. And it's very frustrating. It's really, really frustrating.
And especially right now, because I think it's the first time I'm reading this book since I've started watching the TV show. And now I'm reading that moment with Sophie Okonedo in my head. I'm like, no, this is gross on so many levels. Like, no.
Just no.
Yeah.
No.
All around no.
Yeah, I just highlighted a bunch of like things that made me cringe, and the one that made me cringe the most was, though thinking of Bryn, she did wish the blue were a little bit more like the green in certain ways. And I'm just like, ew.
Man, come on, man.
You have your wife to go home to.
Please go home to your wife.
You don't know it yet, but you have your wife.
Yes.
Yes, she's still alive.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's one moment that just make me like, what the fuck? It's Light Woman. If I had known you were a Aes Sedai before chasing you to Salidar, if I had known what I was doing, what? You wouldn't have hunted me down? Of course I would have. I'd have just been more careful and perhaps come better prepared. I went off hunting boars with a rabbit knife instead of a spear. I will do my best to pretend that you didn't just compare me to a boar, Brian.
And the thing is, this is the thing. There are some straight people who think this is fucking cute.
Yeah.
They're all about this shit. They're like, this is so, look how cute they are. It's not cute, though.
It's not cute. It's not cute at all. You deserve better, straight people.
Yes, please, strive for better.
You know what this is making me think about?
Mm-hmm.
That poster trad wife that we keep seeing on social media.
Which one?
It's the one that is married to a very rich guy, and they have 7 kids in a farm, and she was at like Juilliard or something like that, and she gave up, like she stopped her studies because her boyfriend wanted to get married as fast as possible, and then she got pregnant while in her studies, and now she has 7 kids, and that guy, like, she wanted a vacation for her birthday and he offered her an apron or something like that. And I'm like, there's some straight men in this world that love finding a very smart woman and then bringing her down to something like, and
yeah.
And I hate that. It's so gross. And it makes me think of that.
Yeah. 100%.
I have no idea what person you're talking about, and I'm very grateful for that.
Be glad.
I'll be glad. I keep seeing picture of her on Twitter these days, and I'm just everything I heard about her, I'm like, girl, why are you with him?
Please love yourself.
Please love yourself. Please leave him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yikes.
There was one moment in here that I really, really loved, which was Siuan thinking about revenge on Gareth Brand and how it helped her sleep.
Yeah.
Like,
just picturing her smile, just,
And also,
she thinks about.
It's still about mices.
Yeah,
like
no,
mice.
Yeah.
I love how, like, at the end of the day, Siuan is still, like, trying to play pranks on people. Mice in the bed sheets, that would be good payback. And it says she eventually coaxed herself to sleep, smiling faintly at the prospect of an apt revenge. And I'm just like, that's adorable.
It is.
It's New Spring Siuan.
Yeah.
Siuan was doing the same type of pranks back then with Moraine.
She's always been this girl.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And then she talks to Egwene in Telaran Riod. And there's a lot of updates that are being done between the two. I've noted the Halima one, how they finally found the Forsaken in the camp.
I do think it was a little weird how easily they were like, well, it was clearly a woman channeling Saidane. And I'm like,
Right.
no, that's a bigger deal. Like, that's one of those, like, you eliminate every other possibility, so the only thing that must be remaining. Like, there should be other things, but it was a little odd for me. But I'm glad they just went with it, I guess.
I think, yes, I saw her channel because there was Ashaman in the camp.
Right.
And I think they're just dismissing that because, oh, it's a Dark One. Who knows what that person can do? Like, what the Dark One can do?
Yeah, the line, I think, was anything is possible where the Dark One was concerned, including transgenderism.
Apparently.
You heard it here, folks.
Apparently. It's,
Oh my god.
I saw Swan losing her cool when getting into Telaran Riod. And her dress keeps changing, and then suddenly she has a sword and this kind
A
of
sword?
thing.
Yeah.
Well, she has a sword because she was thinking about Alric, her warder that no one remembers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know much at the end there of Egwene and Siuan meeting, other than Siuan clearly being proud of Egwene.
Yeah. It's very sweet.
Like the mother comes very naturally to her when talking to Egwene. And it's nice to see how much Egwene has grown, especially since, like, I've watched the TV show and I haven't read, like, all of the books from, like, book 4 to book 10 or whatever. Like, this is book 12, I don't know. Which means I haven't seen, like, I don't remember the evolution from season 2 Egwene to this Egwene. And seeing how they interact with each other is, I don't know, I love it because to me, Siuan is still season 2 Siuan with Yamelin and season 2 Egwene that, like, is still someone that wants to learn, but she's not Yamelin. And now it's like, yes, there's definitely a switch, like the rank is different. And like the two of them don't have any issue with that, and Egwene is just so smart. Gosh, I love Egwene so much.
Yeah, it's really cute to just imagine them talking like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it. It's good stuff.
This girl was learning to be Amerlin. Light, she was Amerlin.
Mm-hmm.
The pride.
Like, she's just so proud of her. She's so proud. When easily, like, there could easily, like, a lesser person would have been, like, resentful or something like that, or bitter or something like that. But there's none of that with Siuan. It's just all pride.
Do we have anything else on this chapter?
I'm trying to find, but I think it's pretty much...
I don't think so. I don't have anything else, yeah.
Some update about Bran and Ashaman, but that's it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, about how the...
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Sorry, about how the Ashaman bonded Aes Sedai that were sent by Elida, and as retribution, they sent 47 Ashaman to be bonded by Aes Sedai and Egwene's camp. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it was 47.
Something like that. And then we got a Perrin chapter.
Yeah.
I'm fine describing what's happening. It's basically Perrin that keeps working on stuff, so he's doesn't have to think deeper, and is basically working on his cart like nobody can see his face. It's like if it was a mech under a car while everyone is asking for what they should do and this kind of thing. And I find the scene a bit comic. And yeah.
Like comedic in a good way or a bad way?
Comedic. I mean, there's something a bit comedic. Like, I don't know if it's a good way or a bad way, but just it's as if you had a king on a car, like repairing a car while he's holding
he's holding an audience or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, is a question of the audience and this kind of thing. While I don't know. Imagine like a president doing that.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So there's very much like Perrin still don't want to be a lord.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's most of the chapters. Perrin doesn't want to be in charge.
Yeah, it's him, which is like, and I think I made a note of this too. It's like he makes a note, I think, a couple of times of saying how like Fail is back, but it still feels like something is not quite right. It still feels like there's an emptiness. It's like he doesn't know what to do with himself now, and I'm like, my dude, you have an opportunity here to do something good, and you're looking at it, and you're just like you're doing nothing with it. You're turning away from it. In fact, like.
But yes and no, because at the same time, he's still giving orders. Like, he's the one deciding what to do with the refugees and which direction to go and this kind of thing. So it's like he's sitting between two chairs. I don't know if it's an English expression or a very French one, but
yeah. But he's not fully committing is the thing. And I feel like, honestly, like, if he fully committed, I feel like he might actually be able to find some kind of stability. Like you know what I mean? Like, he's so resistant to it, and like the people around him are still so loyal because they can see there's like, okay, there's something about this man that we want to follow him, and he's just like, well, whatever.
The moment when he's basically telling Tam, I think, that in a few days they'll be able to send all of the Two-River soldiers back to the Two-River. And I can just see Tam's face being like, but like, man, we have no intention of leaving until the last battle. We are following you till the end. And I saw so Rhino has a lot of what's going on too, is that Perrin feels a lot of guilt about like the weeks before rescuing Fail at Malden, and what happened to at Malden too, because like Aram died and it's his fault, or at least he thinks that it's his fault. It's not as clear, but like Perrin directly associates himself with the person who gave Aram a sword.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of good people died. There's a lot of issues with the deal he made with the Sentients regarding the channelers in amongst the Aiel, and I feel like probably a lot of Aes Sedais and Wiseborn are giving him shit about, and they are perfectly right to do that, because that's fucking slavery. And yeah, he has this moment where he had acknowledged that he was a really poor leader for a while and that it was shit. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it was at the same time very relatable to me, because I spent this weekend like just keeping myself busy so I would not have to think about things that I didn't want to think and deal with. And it's something that is kind of common. Like when you don't want to deal with something, you keep yourself busy just until the moment where you're finally in a position where you can, deal with your shit.
Right.
And it's very much what he's doing here. It's just annoying because Perrin has been complaining about his role as a leader for months and months and months, and books and books and books. And you have, on one side you have him who doesn't want to be a leader, and on the other side you have Rand who doesn't want to delegate.
Yes, exactly.
Well, for me, I think the difficult part of this was the fact that Perrin has been trying to capture Fael, or to save Fael, for like 3 books now. And it's an arduous mess of books and chapters. And now that it's all done, Perrin is like, well, now what? And that doesn't make what happened worth it for me. Like, if it would be, he's coming into his own, he's being a leader, he's like, I have Fael back, okay, let's go do this, let's go, whatever, let's go. Like, if he had some passion of something, it would be one thing. It would make it somewhat worth it. But this is just like, okay. And at the end, I mean, the point of this chapter is to show that Perrin now has something to do, which is to go help Rand, which is good. But I think the journey to getting to that decision was a little bit rough. Yeah. I
agree.
I will say, there is like one line in here that I can't believe Brandon Sanderson wrote, which is, "You don't need my hands, just my tongue."
Yeah. Wild.
I did not think of that.
Just the tongue.
It sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't have a whole lot to say about this chapter because there wasn't. I understood the point of it. I understood the point of it. It felt like I hate using this word. It felt kind of like a filler chapter, like where it's just like it's on the road somewhere. Like it's on we're it's a traveling chapter.
It's a bit of a filler chapter.
Yeah.
Because, and I mean, a filler chapter for Perrin was kind of needed because we ended up on something big and now there's, what's going to be next? It just, how those decisions are being made is a bit annoying. I do not remember what his next interaction, like his next on-page interaction with Fael is going to be, and I feel like their relationship right now is still a bit weird, and I'm afraid it's related to Berry Lane, and I am tired of that thing also, of what's going on between Fael, Berry Lane, and Perrin. At this point, I'm just like, make it a trouble and stop annoying.
I was just gonna say, polyamory fixes everything.
Hey, even the Olympic Games in Paris were saying that.
There you go.
I don't know if you watched the opening ceremony, but
the opening ceremonies, yes, they were wonderfully French.
Yes,
very on brand.
Do we want to move towards our burn of the week?
Sure.
Yeah.
My burn of the week is, let me find it really quickly. It came from the Siuan chapter, and so the first 6 paragraphs are Siuan talking about about this, the sky, and then about how it's like a storm is coming, it's called a Dockmaster sky, and how people wouldn't go out fishing because storms would come from this, or it might be fine, blah, 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 blah. And then the first thing is, Siuan, Lelaine asked, voice tinged with annoyance, do hurry up, and I don't want to hear any more superstitious nonsense about the sky. Honestly. And I'm like, did you know what she was thinking?
I feel like Swan must have had that rant so many times that now everyone is mad about it.
Yeah. And also, like, I feel like Swan has a very specific face that she gets when she's thinking about, like, fishing or anything to do with fishing, fish puns, anything like that. She just gets a look on her face, and people are like, oh, God, here we go. Here we go.
Not again.
Not again.
Oh, God damn it. I did find it very funny that Sanderson managed to bring some fisherman imagery for Swan from the start.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I did appreciate that. I agree with you.
I'm sure he had to work very hard on that. Lelaine makes me laugh in that one. I did laugh at that moment. Do you want to go with yours?
Yeah. So mine is from the Nynaeve chapter. She'd explained his mistake to him on several occasions, quite rationally, but talking to Rand these days was like talking to a stone, only less effective and infinitely more infuriating.
Yeah, I had noted that one too.
And also, like, I love that she makes a point to say she spoke to him quite rationally, which suggests probably was not very rationally that she did it, but you know.
Probably.
You know.
Yeah, for me, it was also in Nynaeve's chapter. It's when Nynaeve enters the tent where Rand is, and Rand turns to her and say, I was about to send for you. Wark and Baila are here. Nynaeve raised an eyebrow, folding her arms. Oh, she asked flatly. And here I assume that all the Aiel in the camp meant that we had been attacked by Shido.
He's so special.
His face hardened at her tone, and those eyes of his grew dangerous. But then he lightened.
Rand was ready to bail fire until he realized, oh, this is just Nynaeve being Nynaeve.
This is Nynaeve. Fuck it.
Let me chill the fuck out, maybe.
And also, like, Nynaeve is so funny here because literally the page before she was, oh, Rand never warns anyone and never tells anyone their plan. And if I had not come here, he probably wouldn't have called for me. And Rand literally sent for her and she'd still give him shit.
He was just about to send for her and she's like, she can't help it. She's gotta.
Gosh, I love her.
I know, I love her so much.
Do we want to move to the sad boy moment?
Sad boy moment.
I think I said mine already.
Yes.
Mine was that was my sad boy moment.
My sad boy moment is more because it makes me sad. I am the sad boy.
Mm-hmm.
In having to read this, but it was from Gareth Bryn saying, that question drove me here, you know, he said. It's why I hunted you all that way. It's why I finally swore to those rebel eyes to die, though I had little wish to be pulled into yet another war at Tar Valon. I did it all because I needed to understand. I had to know. Why? Why did the woman with those eyes, those passionate, haunting eyes, break her oath? It made me sad to read it.
Yeah, it makes me sad hearing it again. I hate that.
Yeah, I'm gonna forget about that. Mine was a Perrin moment. Bit long, sorry about that. He'd saved her, but in doing so, he'd abandoned everyone else. And because of him, men were dead. Good men. Men who had trusted in him. Standing in that shadow, he remembered a moment, only a day past, when an ally had fallen to Aiel arrows, his heart poisoned by Masema. Aram had been a friend, one that Perrin had discarded in his quest to save Aiel. Ham had deserved better. I should never have let that tinker pick up a sword, he thought. But he didn't want to deal with this problem right now. He couldn't. There was too much to do. He moved away from the wall, planning to inspect the last wagon in line. Next! He barked as he began again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh boy.
So anyway, therapy in the Wheel of Time.
We need it.
Therapy Aja win. Therapy Aja now.
Please now, immediately, post haste.
Well, that's it for this week. Next week, what do we have? Next week is, well, the next time we reread chapters, it's going to be, we have a Rand chapter, an Avienda chapter, and then another Egwene chapter.
Ooh, nice.
That'll be good.
That'd be good. So I feel like we may be able to have another reread episode before we get through the long Ring of Power section.
2 months of Rings of Power.
Whoop.
Yeah.
2 months of sadness.
No, we're manifesting goodness.
Oh, right.
James, we have to manifest. We have to manifest positivity.
So, thank you for listening to this episode of The Queers of Time. Did you have something to say, James?
No, I was going to go into my spiel. Thank you for listening. No, go ahead. You go.
If you want to follow us somewhere, do not stalk us, but you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Blue Sky, this kind of thing. We have a Discord that is always nice to join. Soon we'll be announcing there what's going to be our next read for the book club.
For the book club, yep.
And if you want to support us, we have a Patreon, and we always appreciate any type of support, even if it's just for months or something like that. We need money, so send us some money.
We need that money.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.